Good morning. Thank you for stopping by my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Unwana, and every week I try to share some interesting content on strategies I'm implementing in my personal life to improve my personal finance and also grow my wealth. So if you're new, thank you very much for being here, and to all my old subscribers, thank you for everything you've done for me and all the comments you've left for me throughout this period. Okay, welcome to my journey. So the topic today is all debt bad? Okay, the difference between good debt and bad debt. So currently we're going through a health crisis, and I'm sure you're all aware of that right now. We have a lot of unemployed people. We have businesses that are failing. We have businesses that have gone bankrupt. We have individuals that have gone bankrupt. We have families that are divorced. So there's a lot of turmoil in the economy right now and in our personal lives. And the key to being financially savvy is knowing the difference between good debt and bad debt. And it's unfortunate that the middle class and others have been, indoctrinated with the fact that every debt is the same. However, not all debt are the same. So I'm going to break down what a good debt is and what a bad debt is. And I'm sure you've probably heard this before, but sometimes it's good to to go back and list these things again, because sometimes we tend to forget with everything that's going on in our personal lives. So I'm going to list what a good debt is and what a bad debt is. So let's start with the bad debt. Start with the bad news first, and then we can move to the good news. So a bad debt is debt that's used to acquire a depreciating asset, or an asset that rusts, or an asset that produces no income. For instance, if you go and you borrow money to buy a car, okay, number one, a car is a depreciating asset. Unless that car is producing income for you, it is a depreciating asset, and also it rusts. Okay, a car depreciates as soon as you drive off the lot with it. Okay, and then the first 3 years is when you get the most depreciation on a vehicle. So getting a loan to buy a brand new car, okay, is considered a bad debt, because that car depreciates, it gets older, produces no income. Okay, however, if that car produces income for you, then it's not a bad debt, then it's now a good debt. So a car loan is an example of a bad debt, and this is what robs most people of their retirement or being financially free, because they spend most of their funds on buying new cars every 4 years or every 2 years or whatever. Now, if you have the resources to do that, then please go ahead and finance as many cars as you want. However, for the majority of the people, getting a car loan is considered a bad debt. The next one is credit cards. Okay, credit cards is a cutting-edge sword. It's a double-edged sword. Okay, credit cards can both fall under good debt and bad debt, but we're talking about the bad debt right now. So a credit card is considered a bad debt because you use that to finance personal items that produce no income for you. Okay, so you use it to buy a new shirt, a new dress, fancy handbag or whatever, or take a vacation or whatever. Okay, credit card debt is considered bad debt because guess what? They have very high interest rate, they have lots of fees, and if you don't pay it off every month, then now you're stuck with paying interest. Okay, it affects your credit. For those who are into credit, it affects your ability to be able to borrow more money if you're looking to borrow more money. So credit cards is another one. Now, student loan. This is a very touchy subject because the goal is for us to, go to school, get a better education, and then get a good paying job. Okay. However, student loans today, you don't really need to go to college. I know I'm speaking out of my whatever. Most people shouldn't be going to college, because guess what? If you go to college and you study a field that will not even pay your student's loan back, then it's a waste of money. Now, if you're going to school to become a surgeon or a lawyer or something that's really high skilled, that you're in high demand, then yes, a student loan makes sense for most people, students' loan do not make sense. That it's considered a bad debt because it might be a good debt because you're educating yourself, but after you're done with the education, now you have to pay it back, and it doesn't produce anything for you. You have to go out there, you have to get the job, you have to hustle, you have to do everything to pay back the student's loan. So for me, a student's loan to some extent will be classified as a bad debt. And then the final bad debt that I have, I mean, there are more, but these are just the main ones that we experience daily in our lives, will be a mortgage for primary residence. You know, most people think that their primary residence is an asset. No, it is a liability. I mean, according to Robert Kiyosaki, if you read his book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, he gives you a reason why, you know, having a primary home is not an asset, it's a liability, because number one, it doesn't produce income for you. Number two, yes, it does appreciate, hopefully, if the economy, the neighborhood, and everything lines up, it might appreciate over time. But guess what? You are stuck with the mortgage payment, you are stuck with the interest payments, you are stuck with the insurance, you're stuck with the property tax, you're stuck with the upkeep of that primary residence. So if your primary residence is not producing income for you, then it is a liability and it is a bad debt. All right, so let's jump into the other half, which is the good debt portion, which is my favorite. Good debt is used to acquire assets that appreciate. It's used to acquire assets that produce income on a consistent basis. So if it's monthly, you get that income every single month. So an example of this would be using a credit card with a promotional rate, okay, to acquire merchandise which you turn around and sell. So for instance, if you have an online business where you know you're selling merchandise, so for instance, if you're doing Amazon FBA, which I also do, you know, and you have a promotional credit card, you know, you have some cards today that give you, you know, 20 months 0%. You can use that card to purchase merchandise, sell online, and then pay it off. So now you get, you know, to enjoy the 0% interest. You also get rewards depending on what kind of card you know, you're using, and also you buy time to pay back everything back, and then you also stand to make money. So if your ROI or your return on investment, okay, is potentially higher than zero, which I hope it is, okay, during that 20 months, you can churn this credit card and use it to purchase products and sell and make out. So a credit card in this situation, in this instance, would be considered a good debt because it's actually producing income for you. All right, so taking advantage of promotional credit cards with 0% for an extended period and using that money to, you know, to acquire income producing asset is a great way to do it. Now the next one is mortgage for investment properties. So if you're getting a mortgage to buy a multiplex, a 4-unit, or single family home that you're actually going to rent out and it's producing income for you, then that's perfect. That's an example of a good debt, because guess what? That property is generating income every single month. It's sustaining itself. You don't have to put your money into it, okay? It runs itself, okay? It generates income. So having a mortgage for an investment property like a office complex or a 3-family, a 4-family, whatever, as long as that property is producing income, then that's an example of a good debt. And then the final piece I have is if you take out a loan or a debt to build a business, okay, it's not advisable to take out money to start a business. In most cases, you have to self-fund the business for a little bit, but eventually if you want to grow, you will have to get some kind of funding. You'll have to get some kind of equity or some influx of cash to get you going. So getting debt to finance your business will be considered a good debt because that business is generating income. Hopefully the business is generating income to sustain itself and also service the debt. So these are just an example of what a good debt and a bad debt is, and I'm sure most of you have probably heard this before, but I just wanted to get this video out because in the past I have been sucked into thinking that my bad debt was a good debt. All right, so thank you very much for being here. I hope you found value in this. Please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and also don't forget to give me a thumbs up for this video so that YouTube can, you know, share my videos with others. Okay, so I hope you have a wonderful week, and please stay tuned for my next video coming up shortly. All right, take care. Bye bye.